I used to believe something dangerous. I believed life would start when everything was finally ready, when I had enough money, enough confidence, enough certainty. So I waited. And before I knew it, waiting became my life. I'm 73 years old now. And if there's one thing I wish I could sit down and tell my younger self, it's this. When I was young, I had dreams like anyone else. Big ones too. I wanted to start my own small business. I wanted to travel. I wanted to write. I even wanted to tell stories that could help people see life differently. But every time the idea came to my mind, another voice would show up. Not yet. You're not ready. Wait until things are more stable. And that sounded reasonable at the time. I told myself I would start when I had saved more money. Then I said I would start when work became less demanding. Then I said maybe after the kids grew older, then after the mortgage, then after the retirement. You see the pattern? Life kept moving and I kept postponing. Years passed quietly. That's the scary part about time. It doesn't announce itself while it's leaving. I remember being about 35 years old, sitting in my car after work. I had just finished another long day doing something that paid the bills that didn't fill my heart. I told myself, next year I'll make a change. Next year came, and I said the same thing again. When you're young, time feels endless. You think you have decades to figure everything out. You assume there will always be another opportunity waiting me around the corner. But time doesn't work that way. It moves forward whether you move or not. In my 40s, I started noticing something uncomfortable. Friends were starting businesses. Some failed, some succeeded, but at least they tried. They had stories. I had plans. Plans are comfortable. My plans don't require courage. Plans don't risk embarrassment. Plans don't risk failure, but plans also don't change your life. I remember one specific evening very clearly. I was about 47. I had an idea I had been thinking about for almost 10 years. I had notebooks filled with thoughts, outlines, even rough steps on how to stop. Everything was there except action. And I still told myself, this isn't the perfect time yet. Looking back now, that moment still stings a little because deep down I knew it wasn't about timing. It was fear of starting badly, fear of what people might say, fear of discovering I might not be as capable as I hoped. But here's the strange truth about fear. It grows when you wait. The longer you delay something meaningful, the heavier it becomes in your mind. By the time I reached my 50s, I had become very good at explaining why I hadn't started yet. I had logical reasons, responsible reasons, mature reasons, but there were still excuses, and life kept moving. My children grew up faster than I expected. My parents got older. Some friends passed away. That's when reality started to tap me on the shoulder. Not loudly, just quietly. A reminder that time isn't promised. I wish I could say I suddenly changed everything then, but the truth is, change came slowly. Regret has a way of creeping into your thoughts before it fully shows itself. You begin to notice small things, like how often you say someday, or how many dreams are sitting untouched in the back of your mind. When I turned 60, something shifted inside, not dramatically, just enough to make me honest with myself. I realized I had spent decades preparing for a life I never actually stepped into. And that realization is heavier than most people think, because you can accept failure, you can recover from mistakes. But the hardest thing to carry is wondering what might have happened if you had simply started. That question follows you. What if I had taken the risk at 30? What if I had tried at 40? What if I had stopped waiting for the perfect conditions? You see, the biggest lie I believed was this, that clarity comes before action, but it doesn't. Clarity comes from action. You understand life while moving through it, not while staying still and thinking about it. Another thing I learned, maybe too late, is this. Most people are not as ready as they look. The people you admire, many of them were scared when they started. They just moved anyway. And movement changes everything. I finally started doing some of the things I had postponed in my late 60s. Small steps at first, sharing thoughts, writing stories, speaking more openly about life. And something surprising happened. People listened, not because I was perfect, because honesty connects with people. I realized something important. That is, wisdom isn't about having all the answers. It's about being willing to step forward despite uncertainty, and I wish I had understood that earlier in life. Because perfection is a moving target. You'll never fully feel ready. There will always be something missing. More money needed, more experience needed, more confidence needed. But life doesn't wait for your confidence to arrive. Confidence actually grows after you begin. That's the part nobody tells you. Start before you feel ready. If I could sit across from my 25-year-old self right now, I wouldn't give him a complicated lecture. I'd say something simple. Start before you feel ready. Mess up, learn, adjust, keep moving. Because waiting slowly steals the years you think you still have. And here's another truth about aging many people don't talk about. When you reach your 70s, you don't think much about the things you failed at. Those memories fade. What stays with you are the chances you never took, the conversations you postponed, ideas you never tested, the paths you were curious about but never explored. Regret doesn't shout. It whispers. It shows up when the house is quiet. When you look back at your life like a long road behind you, and you notice certain roads you never walked. But here's the hopeful part of this story. Even now, I'm still learning, still starting small things, still speaking honestly about what I see and what I've lived. Because life doesn't end when you get older, but the window for certain dreams does become smaller. That's why I'm telling you this, not to make you feel afraid, but to wake you up a little. There's something in your life you've been delaying, something meaningful, something that keeps returning to your thoughts. Pay attention to that. That might be the direction your life is quietly asking you to move toward. You don't need the perfect time. You don't need perfect conditions. And you definitely don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to begin. A small step is enough. Send the message, start the project, learn the skill, share the idea. Movement changes the story of your life. Waiting pauses it. And I can tell you from where I stand now, looking back over 7 decades, I wish I had started sooner. But I'm grateful I eventually understood the lesson. The perfect moment is a myth. The real moment is the one you're in right now. So if this story meant something to you, if a part of it felt a little too familiar, take that as a sign. Don't wait like I did. Start.